Let's not forget, this is Harry. This image was captured in a door cam while he was pacing without bodyguards back and forth looking for his pub buddies while claiming that he was terrified for his safety. He doesn't feel safe in the United Kingdom. He had ditched his bodyguards and he was just walking around like an idiot. And during the trial where he was taking the government to court, somebody please make it make sense. And there's a reason why Harry's looking giddy, because he knows he's on his way back. He feels untouchable. And the king has made a huge mistake by getting himself involved and not putting it out in the public. I mean, Chris Shipp, Cameron Walker, it's called consequences. If Prince Harry wants to get in a car and drive on the wrong side of the road on purpose, why should the people of the United Kingdom have to pay for police to go with him to make sure he doesn't get in a car crash? It's insane, which is what we're seeing right now, because Harry has attracted a lot of hatred because of his actions, because of his words. Spare the Taliban that he killed 25 is my number, mocking a sitting president of the United States, getting political, trying to censor people, being a complete jackass. Again, why should the people of the United Kingdom have to pay for this man's stupidity?
He made himself a target. And now we, in a sense, are expected to pick up the pieces of that. But he's not a working member of the royal family. Other working members do not get 24/7 security. Why should he?
Well, he'll only get it if the threat suggests that it's appropriate, just like any other member of the royal family, working or not, like any other member of government, whether they're entitled to day-to-day protection or not, or any other visiting dignitary. We have to recognise that he is a public figure. You know, he has been and is part of the royal family, whether he's working or not.
My name is Paula M. Welcome to my channel. I was a former diplomat for 14 years, but I actually worked in total over 24 years in government. I'm 57 years old. Yes, I am that old. And I worked in various jobs, from security, from everything. So what I'm about to discuss with you is in my wheelhouse. And I dare the Home Secretary, Raddick, Met Police, Scotland Yard, whatever you want, to tell me that I am wrong. Because there is no way that the Home Secretary woke up one day and said, for funsies, I'm just going to disregard what the judge is saying and decided that Harry doesn't need this, and order them, because it was an order, instruct them to conduct a security review on a non-working royal, a private citizen who is a celebrity, at the expense of the taxpayers. By the way, Harry has still not paid the 1.5 million pounds, almost $2 million, that he was ordered to pay for the 2 court cases that he lost. And we're going to discuss this because there's only one way that the Home Secretary would disregard that and basically risk her career, given all the backlash that's been going on. And that is if the king order her to do that. I've already told you in my videos in July about Harry going to Nigeria, Harry going to Colombia, Harry going to Ukraine, that he was addressed as His Royal Highness. As a diplomat and working for the government, we would never risk angering our allies by literally using a title, addressing somebody by the correct title, job description. Job title is incredibly important in those circles. So there is no way that Ukraine, Nigeria, or Colombia did not contact the Home Office of the United Kingdom and ask, how should we address this man? And they were told to address him as His Royal Highness. Most recently, as I said, in Ukraine. So Harry has gone to these places completely sanctioned by the government. And what we're seeing right now is the king's plan to bring his baby boy back at the expense of the monarchy, at the expense of the taxpayers. And we're going to get into this. And I am itching. I really want them to tell me you're wrong, Paula, because I would welcome them on my channel to discuss it. But let me give you a little bit of background into what we're talking about. And we're talking about Basically, Prince Harry now has gotten a review. A lot of people are saying, oh, that's a review. He shouldn't be getting one. This is at the expense of the taxpayers. The government is like an unemployed teenager. They don't have any money. When you hear the government talking about money, that is your money, the money that they've taken out of your taxes. And in reality, though, that money should be put back into the public for the public good. Now, as I told you, the Home Secretary didn't wake up one day for funsies and said, I'm going to override everything, to hell with it, right? So let me give you context of that, guys. The original decision was that the Royal and VIP Executive Committee, RAVIC, they are the ones who know about this. This includes the Home Office and Metropolitan Police. And they decided in February 2020, when Harry left, he chose to leave. The Queen said, don't. We have to make practical arrangements. He completely ignored it. And he was told, you will no longer receive automatically funded taxpayer security. They have made it look like he is without security. No. All he has to do is give at least 28 days notice or send them his schedule so they can go scout the place. I used to get that. I'll tell you why they do it. They need to go. They need to know where he's going to be because they need to go to the area and they scout it for at least 2 weeks. So they get to know how the movement, what is normal within the circumstance. And if they see anything out of the ordinary, then they flag it and then they put more security. That's why you need those days. This is why royal visits or state visits or any VIP visits are planned 6 months in advance, at least, because believe it or not, they go and sometimes they case the joint, like they say, for at least 2 months to see the comings and goings of people, to see what's right. That's security. So he does get that. But what he doesn't want to do is he doesn't want to pay for private security, which is costing him up to $3 million. And instead, he wants to pluck policemen from an already strained police force in the United Kingdom and pay them at the salary that policemen get. So he could get like 20 at least policemen, given that policemen in the United Kingdom earn only £40,000 a year, about $60,000 a year. So for him, getting 4 or 5 of those policemen is nothing compared to how much he's paying right now. So he's doing it for that and also for status because he's the king's son. Okay. The courts ruled that RAVIC's bespoke approach to security was lawful and that while the Duke of Sussex felt aggrieved, this did not amount to an error in law or in judgment. This is their wheelhouse. Okay. Now, Prince Harry, through his own actions, has made himself hated by Spare. Everything else that he's put out there, betraying his family, mocking his family, lying, slandering, getting himself involved in political affairs when he should be. He's right now mocking the sitting president of the United States. And he does that because he knows Harry's giddy with contempt because he knows he's on his way back to the United Kingdom. This is not a coincidence that Harry's behaving that way. Harry is not devolving. Harry is basically acting as entitled because he's laughing at us. He's laughing at us because him and the king has held secret meetings and have reached secret deals. Make no mistake about it, okay? So now, Harry comes and asks the Prime Minister and Home Secretary back in May to intervene and review the decision. This was done Harry was told to write that letter. So they would have like a backup and say, well, he wrote a letter, so we reconsider as the Home Secretary. No. Now, this is very important for you to understand. The Home Secretary will not act on her own. She would have been asked by the monarch, who would have used his royal prerogative of asking or instructing the Home Secretary to do something on his behalf, which this is exactly what's happened. And this deal was reached last year at the very least. And I've heard Cameron Walker speaking out of his ass, literally saying, but, oh my God, but they didn't want him to pay they didn't allow him to pay for the security because it's police. Harry wants to pay for the police. Why? People are already using the taxpayers' money to do that. That's what part of the money goes to. Why should they give him police resources to a private citizen? This is like Elton John, Victoria Beckham, I don't know, Hugh Grant saying, well, I'm a public figure because of my profession. I'm a public figure. I'm at high risk. I need you to give me police protection. Of course not. And this is very important because you see, if you use the king's son rationale, then he's not going to be less of the king's son in the United States or anywhere in the world. So this is a springboard for him to get security everywhere, which is everybody's taxpayers dollars. And I remember what I told you. The government is like an unemployed teenager. They're using your money, our money. This set a terrible legal precedent because Princess Anne was also the queen's only daughter when the queen was alive, and she doesn't have any bodyguards. Neither does Sarah Tindall, neither did Prince Edward nor Sophie, and they're all related to they were at the time when the queen was alive. Edward was her son, and Princess Anne, who was actually the only royal who was almost kidnapped once at gunpoint. She's still going around without bodyguards. Now, why should the UK have to foot the bill for Harry's stupidity and actions? As I said at the beginning of this video, if Harry chooses to drive in the wrong side of the road for funsies, why should the UK have to pay for police security to make sure he doesn't crash? And then I've heard people, oh, it would be so terrible if anything happened to Harry because, he's the king's son. So if Harry, again, chooses to go and drive on the wrong side of the road and most likely will get into a car crash, why should the police be responsible for Harry's stupid decisions? It's whole being accountable. It's consequences in life. This man is a 40-year-old man, but he knows that Pa has done that. They reached this secret deal at least last year. This is what I used to do when I was a diplomat, guys. We would organize deals like these for royal households. And we knew there was one particular unfortunate event. And I was shocked that it never got to the press. Or if it did, at least they managed it so well that nobody ever heard about it or they negotiated with the press. But I was involved in that incident, or at least I did report it to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of a particular royal. I was shocked nothing came in the papers. And it should have been a major incident. So this is why I'm telling you, I know how this works. I know how this works. Only royals get judicial reviews, working royals. And I've heard a lot of people comparing Harry. Oh, well, he's members of cabinet, heads of state, working royals. But Harry's none of those things. Harry's none of those things. She shouldn't be getting an automatic review because he's a regular citizen. This is like the United Kingdom doing security reviews for Elton John. We're watching absolute insanity in full display at the moment, absolute elitism and an abuse of power by King Charles, because this is King Charles who is on his way of bringing his boy back. I talked about it. I've been talking about it for about a year and a half, and you guys have been calling me crazy and you've been angry with me. But I know, it's like when you're going to catch a cold, the symptoms. I've lived with these symptoms or I work with them for many, many years. This picture was taken back in July inside the private members club where King Charles is the patron. He's the patron of this club. Now, it looks like it's from outside and they did it deliberately. So people think, oh, they were captured outside. No, this is the back patio of a private property. And there is no way that anybody could have gotten to it. And if they publish this, and this is the very same newspaper that Harry is suing. He hasn't stopped suing this newspaper. So if this paper had breached privacy, and this would be considered a breach of privacy because in this club, you're not allowed to take pictures. And they came out for 10 minutes and they went back in. They knew when and where to take this picture. This was the official signaling that Charles wanted put out there that he is backing Harry. Make no mistake about it. This is not an accident. There has been no consequences for this picture being leaked to the public. The Daily Mail hasn't been sued. This was all staged. By the time we get to this picture was leaked, the deal was already reached months in advance because they have to gauge the public. And now they have enlisted Cameron Walker, Chris Shipp, the entire media to put out fake polls saying that everybody loves Harry. Everybody wants Harry back. Of course, everybody wants Harry back. These fake polls are just an insult to people's intelligence, saying, oh, he needs protection. Why? Why? And make no mistake, he will get the security review and he will get more police protection that he doesn't need, because his bodyguards at the moment are former police protection officers. All they need to do is that they have direct contact with the Scotland Yard. Scotland Yard is already conducting police reviews every time Harry wants to come, but he doesn't want to give them their schedule. And he wants to feel important. And King Charles, because he's not using his funds. You see, if he has to keep paying Harry's security, because I believe that he's paying Harry's security, which is costing him almost $3 million, it's cheaper to have him pay like $300,000, which would be like 6 or 7 bodyguards from the United Kingdom, but not him, the taxpayers. I've been telling you since Harry and Meghan went to Nigeria and then to Colombia, that they went on behalf of the king, because they were senior staff from Buckingham Palace in Harry's team, that they were reporting everything back to Buckingham Palace. Why would there be if Harry's not a working royal? There are a lot of things that are incredibly shady, and people not wanting to call it out is terrible. Do you find that this is fair? Absolutely not. Not for me anyways. Please let me know what you think. And I want to thank all of you who have donated by PayPal and Super Chats, because you know that everything I make in this channel goes to the shelter. And this is Christmas, so I wanted to do some nice dinner. So thank you very much for all your very kindness, many kindness that you've given to me. And please leave me your comments, because this is angering. This is not disheartening. This makes me want to fight even harder for the truth. Let me know what you think, beautiful people.